Hey, Janice. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm well. We're going to keep talking about home buying again because, as you know, I'm wrapping up my first self-published book about how to buy your perfect first home. So we'll just keep talking about this, and any folks who are interested in learning more can jump onto Amazon and buy the book.
I personally am looking forward to reading it,
Cool. And I'm personally,
although I'm not buying a home, but I'm really interested to read your insight on that.
and I'm also interested in getting your review. Thank you.
I will be sure to give my review.
Okay, so we're going to talk about an article that's trending on social called or titled "5 Reasons to Buy a Home in the Fall." So this is very contemporaneous to the time. So Janice, this one is from a website called TexasLending.com, which is not a major media outlet. And my take was that this article had a pretty sell side slant to it, meaning like everything is a good reason to be in the market. So I want us to take this with sort of a grain of salt. Yeah. Did you get that at all?
I did. I can talk about my overall at the end, but I felt it was like it made it feel like it was a relaxed time.
Okay, that's true.
Does that make sense? Like, we'll see as you go through it. Like, it made it feel like, do you want to not have the stress of home buying? Fall.
Yeah, and that there seems to be a theme there. So let's jump into it, and then we can talk about that. So I'll start off. The first reason to buy a home in the fall is that there's less competition. And the article states that the real rush of home buying is typically in the spring and summer. So there's just sort of less activity in the fall, and that sort of makes it less frenetic or frantic. And just maybe if you're one of a smaller pool of buyers, perhaps you're more valuable to the sellers.
Absolutely. Everyone's selling in the summer. They want to be moved in before school starts. So when come the fall, it is a little bit more relaxed because there is not as much competition.
So if I'm reading this correctly, if you're in the market in the fall, I don't know about your area, Janice, but in New York, typically it takes, from the moment you have an accepted offer, it takes at least a month or two to actually close, sometimes longer. So you're really going to be closing and moving in the winter. So there's that to think about as well.
Correct. And depending on where you live, that could be a problem.
Yeah, moving in the snow is not
No.
great.
Well, moving anytime is definitely challenging.
Sure, of
but
course.
when you add in snow, that makes it harder. But I found it interesting where it said less competition means that the buyer has more time to make a decision. Have you ever had a house where you're so excited about and you don't even have time to put in an offer because it's gone?
Oh, right on. Right. In the hot spring and summer months, there might be bidding wars or, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
You get to look at a house if you're lucky and not just see it online, and you have that day or half a day to put in your offer. That's it. But they're saying in the fall, there's not as much competition. You can sit back, relax, and make a decision.
Yeah, I think that's great. Actually, that's a huge advantage to be able to be contemplative in your decision making.
Yes. And it's not hasty because you'll have, even if you have a few extra days, that's pretty big when it comes to it. You can think about it, sleep on it, make a better decision.
Right.
Offer maybe even lower because there isn't as much competition.
Very cool. You want to take number 2?
Absolutely. So motivated sellers, well, we just talked about in the summertime, they're motivated differently. They want to sell, they want to move out, they want to be settled before school starts. That's important when you have a family. But the sellers that are selling in the fall are a little bit different. They may have moved their home, or they have different reasons for putting their house on the market putting their house on the market at that time. So they're motivated differently. So they may be more flexible with timing, with price. It's just going to be a little bit different than buy now, let's get out, let's go. Then, okay, we can wait a little bit. Your move-in date can be a flexible time. We can talk about the numbers. Again, going back to the overall theme I felt of this was get to relax a little more relaxing.
So wait, if I think I'm getting mixed signals from this point because it's kind of saying that the reason, correct me if I'm wrong here, Janice, the general reason why summer and spring is so hectic is because everyone's kind of moving in sync with the school year, or a lot of folks are doing that. But if somebody is selling in the fall, it's because they typically have a different reason, like changing jobs or having to move for something like that. But to me, that sounds like that might actually be a more urgent, like I need to move now because my job is relocating me. So That feels
That
like,
is a good point.
it feels like it could cut both ways, basically.
That's very true. And it all depends on why they're selling in the fall.
Right.
Did they just want to wait till after? Are
Mm,
they retired?
right.
Are they ready to move to Florida? Jealous. There's, but there could be lots of different things that may be more likely to make them flexible. But again, like you said, there could be that they got a job, they have to start it in a month, they must leave on that date. So it's not a guarantee, but I guess you're more likely, maybe? Is that what they're saying?
That could be. Very, very true. All right. Moving on to number 3, service providers have more time for you. So this is where I would like to point out that these reasons all seem to be tied to the fact that it's just less hectic than in the summer and spring. And I think this reason is basically your brokers, your mortgage, if you have a mortgage broker, if you have a realtor, your attorney. Just because there's generally less activity, you'll get more attention from all of your team members, your whole professional team. Is that what you got from this one?
Absolutely what I got from that one, yes. When you have a realtor that has tons of clients and they have lots to do, I can respect that. But it's hard to get that one-on-one time. It's hard to schedule a meeting. Same with repairs and inspections. When you have a home inspector that is looking at 10 houses in a week, I mean, that's a lot. It takes hours to do it. It's going to be easier in the fall when you only have 1 or 2 a week. So it's very different.
Okay, I need to interrupt. You said realtors, and I say realtors. Can you say it again?
Realtor. A realtor.
I don't know who's
Pennsylvania, New York coming out.
I don't know. Am I just saying it completely wrong? I say realtor, like it's real
okay.
and then tour. Huh.
Realtor. Well, how do you say water? See, so it's maybe the
No. Now I'm too self-conscious. I don't want to say it. All right. Would you take number 4?
Yes. So number 4 is the weather. Need we say more? People love fall. It's very nice. I agree with this. Fall is beautiful. It's really nice to look at a house when you're not sweaty and hot, and the kids are miserable if you have them in tow. But you also run the risk in fall. I don't know about where you are, but we could get a snowstorm in the fall, and that could really put a damper on a whole week of buying a house. We've had massive snowstorms on Halloween before, where we had no power for a few days. So you do take that risk depending on where you live, that although fall is beautiful, you could run into some weather that's questionable.
So for me, this cuts both ways. Just to answer your question, no, I don't think New York gets snowstorms in the fall as much. So that's not as much of a risk for us. But so for me personally, this cuts both ways. I don't like the summer that much. I'm more of a winter person. I don't like it when it's hot, and I would be very grumpy going from open house to open house in the sweltering heat. But it cuts both ways because the fall is one of my, for me, is the perfect climate, very breezy and cool. And I don't get a sense of how the apartment or the house would feel, or how well the air conditioner works, right?
Very true.
And I mean, there's no way you can test both summer and winter, but it feels like you should test at least one extreme of the two, right? I mean, you don't know if it'll heat properly until you live in there in the winter, right? And you don't know if it'll cool to your liking until you've seen it in operation in the summer. Yeah?
That's very true, because in the fall, we hardly use either one because it's like a perfect temperature.
Same here, right? Everyone just cracks the window, right?
Right. Yeah. Oh, that's a good point.
I want to see if that air conditioner is strong enough, or if I'm going to have to replace it, or if sometimes, units are laid out so that it's just not impossible, but very difficult to adequately cool the whole apartment. I mean, just because of the twists and turns and whatnot.
So that goes back to what we've talked before on previous, is that home inspections are really important. Right. If you can't try the heater or you can't try the air, you want a professional to go in and say, yes, it will handle it, or no, it won't. Good point.
Just on a slight tangent, I personally enjoy the aesthetics of those, what do you call it? Vaulted ceilings in the living room. But I just know from an engineering perspective, like, it's just really hard to cool and heat all that dead air.
Right. You have to have a good system, a good working system that will fill all that space.
Yeah. And it's actually just a lot of wasted energy.
It is. But if you're not a professional, you could look in an air conditioner and go, oh, yeah, that looks nice, but you don't know. So that's where that home inspection is so important if you're going to look in the fall.
Cool. Last, what is it? Reason to buy a home in the fall. And again, this is a real sell side article, but it has some good points. And the last reason, number 5, is end of the year sales. And I don't quite get this about the furnitures, but maybe you can chime in on it.
Totally. This is where the shopping lover in me comes in. So end of the year sales is, if you buy, let's say you buy a house and you moved in this week, what do you have coming up? You've got Black Friday, you've got Small Business Saturday, you've got Cyber, Monday now, where they're just unloading stuff. So if you need to buy furniture, bedding, drapery, it's a great time of year because everybody has their sales, especially when it comes to those type of things that people aren't buying necessarily for the holidays. They're blowing out the couches because they still want to make their end of the year quota. So I think it's a great time to try to buy something as compared to the spring and the summer where everybody bought a house, everybody needs furniture, and you don't have those Black Friday type deals. So I get this part of the end of the year sale, especially since I have never bought anything that wasn't on sale, that this is a good time to buy those type of things. Don't buy it before, as we've mentioned in previous podcasts. You want to wait until you move in.
So let me ask you, as a guy who doesn't do much shopping, does that rationale apply to Home Depot or Lowe's, like the nuts and bolts and the hardware to fix up the closets? Because that's what I think of when I think of moving, yeah?
It's absolutely. They do have sales. So same thing. You think about it, you have to fix the nuts and bolts. Some people may not own the tools to do that. It is a great time to go, and you can get kits and sets and all kinds of things at the Home Depot and the Lowe's.
What about, again, thinking from the guy's perspective, this is so stereotypical, but whatever. The big ticket items, washer, dryer, dishwasher, refrigerator. Would you be getting big savings end of year?
Yes,
nice.
Definitely.
Nice.
Again, if you're looking for something like that, if you can stomach Black Friday, that's a good time because not everyone's going to look for a washer dryer. They're looking for children's gifts and gifts for family. Go in there and you'll see there's really big sales.
Cool. Very good. All right. So yeah, this was actually pretty thought provoking. These 5 reasons to buy a home in the fall. Yeah. All right. Cool. Thanks, Janice. We'll talk again next time.
All right. Chat soon.
Take care.